in the new mine site reclamation regs?
I'm meeting with the Steelworkers Provincial Executive next week to get their opinion on the best rollout times.
What?
But I really want to see where they'll stand come the election.
Why? Is there a problem? We've always been able to count on it.
Well, you know nothing's ever for sure forever. Billy Clark's been at me lately. Folks up at Rubicon don't think we're doing enough on the single industry.
Did you happen to mention that the community diversification program is going to be announced? I know they represent a sizable block of support, but not the only.
David, I have to say this, now that we seem to have come to it, and as much as it pains me, they're thinking.
They're thinking what? That we haven't done.
That we don't have strong enough leadership to do what needs to be done. They think you need to step down.
That is as absurd as it is unconscionable. What the hell is going on? What the hell more do they want? They don't think my leadership is strong enough. We got the new road into town built on time, as we said we would. Guaranteed the loan for Prairie Mines and saved their job. And as much as I didn't want to interfere in the bargaining process, I personally took their case to the company's CEO, that 24-carat schmuck, and got them a new collective agreement.
Look,
avoided a strike,
I'm just the messenger. I'm not saying they know what they're talking about, or they even know what they're saying. But Clark says that Cranwell up at Bighorn Lake's been saying the same thing.
But so what did you say to Oldham? Well, how did that conversation come about?
Well, you know how these conversations get started after too many beer.
Did you happen to mention that the community diversification program is going to be announced within the week?
David, what I'm saying is they don't think you're a strong enough leader. No, I didn't mention a community diversification.
No, I thought not. You no doubt had more pressing matters weighing. Well, you're going to have to keep your leadership ambitions in check until after the election. There's not going to be a leadership convention this close to an election.
What I'm saying to you is that we can't win an election if all we've got's a balanced budget and a community diversification program. That sort of thing doesn't turn on the voters. They need something to capture their enthusiasm, something like the high-tech initiative I brought to you several times. That sort of thing has some sex appeal.
Sex appeal?
Yes, sex appeal. Have you forgotten what that is?
No, I haven't forgotten what it is. I just don't believe in pandering to the voters' basest instinct. And how is this high-tech initiative, this next big thing, going to do anything for towns like Rubicon and Bighorn Lake? Where's the bloody sex appeal for the people in those towns? Is this high-tech initiative going to find new ore bodies? Or is it just going to attract a bunch of new computer gaming developers? Just what the atrophying minds of our youth need. That's not what we're here for.
No, I know. Peace, order, and good government.
Yes, damn it. Good government.
Good
a concept
Christ.
of which you seem quite unfamiliar.
How did you get out of Jurassic Park or the Pleistocene era? You're a goddamn fossil. We have to put you in a bloody museum.
You want my job? You can take a run at it after the election. I don't know how you think you're going to pull it off, but good luck. I don't plan to switch jobs for a few years yet. Right now, your job is to get our finances in shape so we can campaign on balancing the budget.
Well, you don't need to worry about that.
As a matter of fact, I do. You see, whatever you're involved in, I'm going to worry about. Now, just get on with making sure that the budget will be balanced.
This is Billy Clark.
Hi, Billy. David Rundle here. How are you?
Oh, Mr. Premier, I'm good. Thanks. And yourself?
I'm fine, thanks. Look, I need to ask you about something.
Of course, Mr. Premier.
I've been getting word from up in your neck of the woods about people being dissatisfied with the way we're handling the single industry town issue. You hear anything like that?
I haven't heard anything like that. Naturally, there's been a few mumbling about how we need to solve the problem once and for all.
Okay.
But they're not dissatisfied. They're just concerned about their and their families' futures.
Sure. Well, I understand that. What about Cranwell at Bighorn Lake?
I had a couple beers with him the other day, and he didn't say nothing about anything like that, and he would have if anything like that had taken wind.
Okay. All right, thanks, Billy. If you do hear anything, call me. I'd appreciate it. For your information, and keep it close, we're launching the Community Diversification Program very shortly. I think your folks will like it. Anyways, I'll be in touch within a few days. Thanks, Bill. And my best to Mildred.
Morning, my boy. Coffee's good. Grab a cup. Did you see the paper today? There is a fascinating story, front page below the fold, all about David's Community Diversification Program. Clark says up at Rubicon they think it'll solve the single industry town issue.
Good news for the party, and for David. So, David called Clark?
Yes, he did. And old Billy denied any allegations of a rumor. Thinks you're a bloody genius for coming up with that one.
Good. He'll make sure you get the credit. I'm making some progress on our election budget. Our chances of balancing it are still slim to zip, but we can make a plausible claim that we can.
Well, boy, we're not going to be making any progress at all as long as Rundle's leading this party. His goddamn approval rating makes me want to gag. He's done his job, and it's time for him to move on. The election's in 4 weeks. We stick to his time.
Trust me. I have something to encourage him to step aside. You ever hear of the Rosemary Rumble?
Vaguely. 12, 15 years ago, wasn't it?
Right. Wainwright and Marks were siphoning funds from community bingo tournaments into Rosenberg's campaign chest for a 6-month period. It wasn't much, only about 15, 20 grand. They just wanted to make sure they weren't going to lose because the provincial office had its head up its ass. So
what are you getting?
Watch this. It should be on right about now.
Reaction throughout the province has ranged from apathy and resignation to frustration and anger, but on the city streets, it has been anger and disillusionment. Ron Peterson has been following the story. Ron, what sort of reaction have you been getting?
Well, Andrea, I've been getting a mixed reaction. It ranges from total apathy to seething anger. This gentleman that I spoke to pretty well sums up the latter feeling. Here he discusses how he views this very troubling revelation, coming as it does only a few months before a provincial general election.
My family and I have been long-term supporters of this party, and I am bloody well pissed off. These are the sorts of shenanigans I expect from the other parties. I'm not even sure the Liberals and Tories would try to pull something like this. Okay, maybe the federal Tories. It doesn't give us much choice. Either we hold our noses and stick with this gang, knowing that they have the principles of an allotry, or not both. Lots of my friends feel the same way. Some of them are so bloody pissed off, they're seriously thinking of voting Liberal. That's how betrayed they feel.
There you have it, Andrea. That gentleman is very much representative of the people I spoke to this morning and yesterday afternoon.
Thank you, Ron. We'll stay on top of the story as it develops. Up next is our local weather.
Not bad, eh?
But brilliant. Now all we have to do is find some way to neutralize that goddamn Popovich. Have you gotten a hold of Wilson?
Yes, I left it up to him if he wants in. If he does, and I think he does, he should be here any minute now. Ah, glad you could make it. Let's see.
We're taking a bit of a risk talking to you like this, but I think we can trust you. From some things you've said in-house and in the caucus, we feel we're all on the same wavelength. Everyone wants something better for the province.
Evan gave me a pretty thorough background last night. The high-tech initiative sounds interesting and ambitious, and challenging under the circumstances.
We see it as key to getting the economy moving again. New opportunities, new hope.
Now, recently the media have gotten hold of an old story regarding the misappropriation of charitable donations by riding officials. One of our ridings. The optics look ugly. This could cost us the election. Now, as whip, you have a reputation for being hardworking, ambitious, and practical. We need you to work with us. Get enough support for caucus, put the high-tech initiative at the top of the priority list.
And for getting enough support to hang the scandal around David's neck, eh?
A trifle blunt, but yes, you grasped the picture quickly. This is good.
Well, it's not the sort of project I normally get involved in, but under the circumstances, I bear him no ill will.
Of course not, but for the greater good.
Well, I'm in. I'm as assuming there will be new faces in any new cabinet.
Let's get started. We really only have one item of business. Right. We need to get this bloody scandal business settled. Move on.
We're already down 6 points and CTV aired the story last night, and it's bound to get worse.
I'm afraid to ask what you suggest we should do about it.
Well, if you're afraid to ask, you must have some idea of what the answer will be.
And you have all the wheels in motion, I'm guessing?
David popularity is taking a serious hit. It's already down to 24%. Partly because we haven't taken steps to either put this thing in perspective or to succumb to the clamoring for a human sacrifice.
So your solution is to throw the dog the bone just because it barks?
Evan, you said partly? What else is at work here? I need to know what I'm getting myself.
Who said anything about sacrificing anyone? We haven't discussed it.
Are you suggesting getting rid of David? He's the premier, for fuck's sake.
There's a willingness in some quarters to allow the leader an opportunity, put the future of the party ahead of his personal reputation.
You no doubt have helped those sitting members to that quarter and find the willingness within themselves. What we have here is a scandal that would be a minor nuisance if the media weren't being establishment lapdogs.
Fucking believable.
Quite believable. Why is it that two of our party members siphoning $20,000 from our provincial party funds to a virtually bankrupt constituency 15 years ago is so important to the future of our fair province? I mean, how the hell did they find out about it? Don't you find it passing strange that the two newspapers, radio stations, and TV stations had this story a full day before the CBC ran it?
What's the CBC running or not running the story got to do with it?
If the CBC doesn't run it, there's a good chance they don't consider it real news. Unlike those Fox News clones, of course.
Does this mean what I think it means?
Yeah. Riding a man's coattail power and success, then stabbing him in the back is a time-honored practice in politics. Even in polite, mild-mannered Canada.
The media and the opposition are mauling us over this so-called scandal. We have to take
Whereas
it seriously.
liberals eat their
They have
young,
to
reformers
set
burn their
standards
dissenters
for
at the
improper
stake,
use of funds.
Socreds, if there
And
were any
our
left,
friends
ship
from
their
Massachusetts
disappointments
opposition.
to Bible
Just
temple
getting a
and
little bit
stab
ahead of
those who
ourselves
keep
here.
progress
How do we know this is
on the
something
back
that
of
we can't manage?
It's always difficult to raise the possibility of doing something that seems disloyal, even treacherous. But I'm only stating what many are thinking. Right now, it doesn't look like we can win with David as leader.
So we've got to come up with a decision about how we're going to deal with this. Whatever we come up with, we still have to take the caucus.
Of course, that's only proper.
So they can all share in giving up David's naughty bits on a platter. I get it. The party that disembowels together wins together. This sucks. Okay, we haven't even considered the possibility of managing this and saving David's reputation.
Well, like it or not, we've got to put this thing to rest, and we don't have a hell of a lot of options here. We need
Good afternoon, everyone. I must say you all look rather glum. Have we lost the election already?
We've just been going over the CTV Mind Research report that came out last night.
That weren't bad enough. The Labor Council simply finished its own poll. Their results were no more encouraging.
I'm sure they're not. I understand it was instigated by some of our more vocal, disenchanted backbenchers. There was no discussion with me or any of my staff. That was really tacky.
We just wanted to make sure we weren't using someone else's numbers.
Of course. The CTV poll may not have raised the issue about who in particular should take the blame for our problem, or in the event of a vacancy in the leader's job, who the most likely candidate would be to replace me, if there was any kind of work.
David, we cannot let individuals' unvarnished ambitions hijack the party's direction or leadership.
A number of pundits, more than half for one, suggest that you as leader are the most logical choice to take responsibility. Even though we know it didn't happen on your watch, to be honest.
Yes, by all means, let's be honest. The captain goes down with the ship. I don't think you want to follow that metaphor to its conclusion.
It looks a little bit more like the captain walks the plank.
So whatever recommendation comes out of this meeting, we still have to take a caucus for a final decision.
And I'm sure nobody's been lobbying individual caucus members to sound them out.
It was a matter of getting a feel for their views individually, simply to help give some direction to our discussion.
But we wouldn't want to propose the idea of sacrificing David if there weren't any support for it.
You make it sound so sinister, like a conspiracy.
A conspiracy? Oh, heavens, no. More like a coup. A cadre of lemmings with overcooked spaghetti as spines following a narcissistic malcontent who shrewdly created the situation we're in, manipulating them, pulling their strings.
That's goddamn well out of order bullshit. And you?
Roanoke, if the shoe fits...
Caucus tends to agree with polls and pundits. They know full well you aren't responsible. This isn't personal, it's politics. They doubt that we can win the election with you as leader. Their take is that you'd be very highly regarded publicly for taking the bullet.
Hence,
for the party.
highly regarded, publicly, a secular beatification perhaps. What is this bullshit? Am I to understand there's already been a vote? How? When?
If you'll check the logbooks, there was a meeting late last night online. During the course, the desired questions had the desired responses. Whatever goes to caucus is simply to formalize a decision.
You know, I've been wondering how in the hell some minor problem from the murky depths of the past has suddenly come to rival the old liberal sponsorship scandal. And then I saw who broke the story. And it didn't take a genius to figure out where he got it. I'm not totally blind to the machinations to try and get rid of it. But this is outrageous. I'm going to insist on an open vote in caucus. They're going to have to show to my face the depth of their loyalty.
Merit in both official languages.
Round one to you. The next one won't be so easy.
No, he's right. The next one won't be so easy.
Trust me, we'll win.
What do you want to tell me that's so important it can't? Do you want to tell me how you systematically engineered this scandal to force my resignation?
Not at all. Evan and his team have been working day and night on the budget.
And I'll bet this is just great.
We can't balance it. The budget.
What the hell? You assured me that
It was based on some cost projections that were way out of whack. Huge overruns on the infrastructure projects.
How can that be? The projects were finished 6 months ago.
I don't know what to tell you. Evan and his team have been going over and over the books looking for something, but...
Get up!
You know, we could just say we'll balance the budget.
Over my dead body.
Too melodramatic. Besides, we don't work that way. We don't need to. We can win the election and explain our arithmetic error afterwards.
You know, I do have to hand it to you.
Yeah.
Really?
You really do.
What is going on here? Is Roger seriously trying to take down David? And this close to the election? Has he some sort of political death wish?
I don't know, but it's bad for David and for us. I just don't see any way to stop him. If he brings David down somehow, I don't see the scandal, as unfortunate as it is from a timing point of view, to be enough on its own to do that. But Roger is nothing if not resourceful. He's got that Rasputin Evan working full time on something.
Well, if he doesn't, Roger, you have to run against him in the leadership convention. As much as I would like to run your campaign, you know I can't do that.
No. Can't just let him walk away unopposed. Mean the end of my political career, but I just don't think I want to be a part of any government he heads.
You've got all the right credentials. Okay, and I'm sure there are several members in caucus who will want to work with you. They just have to be willing to alienate Roger and what that'll mean if he wins. But I'll send you a list of names. I gotta go.
Hey, be careful. You're too important to the party in caucus to risk losing.
Thank you. Good luck.
You heard from Clark?
Yep, he's made arrangements for the delegates from the locals to support us. Some, maybe a handful, feel the need to show their independence, but not enough, according to Clark, to affect the ultimate outcome. He feels they'll be on-side unanimously once they realize you're a candidate.
Good. He owes us. What about caucus?
Even better. Georgia's commitments were better than 80%. Some might cause a little bit of issues, but otherwise, fully out their full support as well.
Well, I feel that's a little overly optimistic. We can't count on Stephen to carry the flag for the loyalists. All half dozen of them are
That could be even better. A contest, no matter how flawed, will give your victory a veneer of legitimacy. It won't fool anyone in caucus, but it will improve the optics, make them feel better.
Well, that's important. Now, what about George? What's he going to cost us? It's been very helpful, you know. I was thinking transportation, at least for a start.
Are you sure he's up to that? He seems to be holding to these East New Hooksville Rotary Club fascists.
Well, we all have to work with what we've got.
Yeah.
Max, it's so good to see you. A drink. Sun, sand, grass.
And that other green stuff.
The Ducks are all lined up. Rundle's pissed off, forced to resign. Poor Sap just doesn't know it yet. I have more than enough votes lined up to win a leadership conference.
Good work. I'm more convinced than ever you'll be able to help the economy of this province out of the doldrums. You mentioned the advanced